All right, guys. Hey, I'm here on a Sunday messing around. Had a good buddy of ours here in the nation ask me if I would entertain building a Zcon. I don't usually do builds for people unless it's for research or something along those lines. But I figured, you know what? What the heck? I'm going to go ahead and then do a build for this nice guy, and I will go ahead and document a little bit for you. This is me being anal, so I'm just kind of showing you what I do sometimes. And let's get with it. This is basically the big Zcon. It's 56-inch wingspan, and I did, my standard style here where it's all A-frame sparred. Spars are put in with thick CA. I cleared all the channels out first with a Sawzall blade like I usually do. Make sure I get all the spars pre-fitted, and I got all the spars put in. They're all put in with a Star Bond, super thick CA, and then activated. So I basically built it on a flat bench. Got all the spars in it, looked down the leading edges of it, got it all locked in nice and straight. And you can see I really, I go really heavy with the CA. I want it to lock in the spar. I also want it to strengthen up all of the bead, the foam bead around the spar. This is where the strength is. If you put these in with goop and you go very light with the glue, you're not going to get anywhere near the strength as if you get the spars in and then you put your CA on there and let them soak for a little bit. Then I'll take maybe a business card or a piece of plastic and wick off some of that CA and get it to soak also around the spar, because if you encapsulate and you also get that spar to where the foam around it is super stiff, it's amazing how strong this gets. Then I go ahead, I put the center bulkhead in. You can see the bulkhead, and the bulkhead itself has a goop coated spar slid in and put into that area before I put the bottom of the plane lid on the bottom. So basically put that whole assembly down in, and I actually gooped the Coro in that area, so that whole bulkhead is held in there, and I lined it up and got it nice and straight. So when you look at the contour of the bottom of the plane's contour is really nice. And one way I do keep the contour of the plane really nice on the bottom is I will, after I put the lid on and I have the lid glued to the bulkhead, you can see where I actually glued it with some goop there. I will go in after the lid's already down. I will go in and glue the, put some spars in there. So my process is, clear the edges out so the lid can go down and onto the plane. Make sure that, your foam is cleared with a nice sharp razor so the lid fits perfect. Pre-fit the lid, make sure the lid fits on your center bulkhead that you put in there, and get it all put in. And I will take the lid and pin it in place, and I will add a couple dabs of hot glue around the edges. Not a lot, just enough to hold the lid in place and get it to where it looks good. If you don't have it locked in right, you can take an inspection of it, and if it doesn't look right, you can squirt a little bit of a little bit of rubbing alcohol on any of those areas where you actually glued that in. And if you spray that, rubbing alcohol will release the hot glue off the plastic, and then you can pick that stuff off and do a realignment, which is really nice. So I will go ahead and set the bottom lid on the plane. I'll do it with a couple pins and some hot glue and get it pinned in and make sure it looks really good and get it into place. And then if it does look like it's good, after that hot glue is cured a little bit, then I'll go through and I'll add some goop all the way around the perimeter. I'll add some goop where everything glues together, and the goop is really your strength. And then after the lid's been gooped on, even around the perimeter on the top, the next day I'll come back and I will literally slide these glass rods in completely after. I'll come in after and slide those in, and as I'm sliding them in, I will clear a little area on both sides for them to sink down, and then I actually kind of push the fiberglass rod down so it bulges the bottom up and makes the contour of the airplane and everything look good. So when you look at it with your eye, the contour of the bottom of the plane really looks nice. After I do that, then I will spray 3M90 on this lid. After I spray the 3M90 on that lid, and right after I spray it on, I will actually give it a coat of glass with this fiber weave, and then spray a heavy coat of 3M90 on that weave and completely cover that bottom of the plane with that glass weave and everything. So if you are cutting out, I didn't go over that yet, if you are cutting out any of these openings and you want those openings open, you can cut the foam block out with the razor around the edges and then take the foam block out of the plane. I know I do send plastic lids and stuff like that for it, but I usually do is take the foam block out of the plane, and then I take it over to my bandsaw and I cut that foam piece that's in there is a little over an inch, maybe like 3/16 of an inch thick, maybe an 1/8 inch thick. I'll take it over to my bandsaw and slide it sideways, and then I'll come over and fit it to the contour of the plane, put a couple pins around the edges, and then flip it over and put a couple dabs of hot glue around the edges to hold those foam pieces in place. Now, when I actually do that fiberglass weave like I'm talking about, I'm going to take the fiberglass weave and I'm going to go over the sparring system here, go across over to the other side of that lid, or the other electronics area, and I'm going to cover that weave across here. And then I will put 3M90 down and then basically wick that stuff in so the 3M90 holds that fiberglass weave down in there. And then once I do that, I will let that dry for a day. I'll give it a light sanding with the palm sander, and then I will give it a coat of brown Gorilla Glue. Put a little brown Gorilla Glue down onto that glass, and it makes this thing like a hard shell. Once that brown Gorilla Glue is dried for a day, or 6, 8, 10 hours it's dry, I will go with electric palm sander and palm sand it smooth. And then I will palm sand the whole plane smooth once it's done, and then I'll 3M90 over that fiber weave and the bottom bay, and then paint, and then laminate. And then once you paint that fiber weave and laminate over it, your actual laminate will stick really, really, really well to that weave, to that paint. So I know there's been hard times in the past where you're trying to get your corrugated plastic to stick onto the lamb, or the lamb I should say, to stick to the corrugated plastic. That really helps you out. Plus it strengthens the bottom of the plane to where the bottom of the plane is a durable hard shell but light. So we'll go over that process here and go on after that.